This is a HeadGum podcast.
Hello and welcome to The Complete Guide to Everything, a podcast about everything. I'm one of your hosts, Tom.
And I'm Tim.
Tim, how are you doing this week?
I'm a little tipsy.
Oh, me
I'm having
too.
a beer, Tom. I haven't been drinking since the birth of my son back in October, and cracked open a beer.
You did sober October, November, December, and January.
Yep. And I'm a better person than most people for it.
Well, but now people who listen to this podcast are probably like, that's why he wasn't funny. That's why he was such a bore to listen to. This is like every alcoholic's nightmare. Yeah. It's just like, no, nobody will like me if I stop.
Yeah, I did get emails being like, what happened to Tim? He used to be fun.
Yeah, he used to be a good times guy. And now look at him. Yeah. We'll save it. I met your son. We'll save that for the Patreon podcast, though, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We'll save that
baby
for the paying
report.
Customers, the baby report, because they were promised a baby report. I've had the equivalent of half a bottle of wine.
You've been drinking cans of wine.
Yeah, you finally gave me. We'll give a shout out here, Bridge Lane Wine, which you were drinking on an episode, and a listener worked for them. And you didn't even mention the company name. And it was just like a happy accident. And
she was like, "Oh, you like canned wine? I'll send you some." And then I didn't give her my address because I didn't want to give somebody my address over the internet.
Yeah, I've given my address to a couple of people lately, and I haven't gotten anything.
Well, they're probably parked in a van outside your apartment as we speak.
Maybe.
What are they going to do to you? Murder you? Whatever.
We do have
a
P.O. box. We have a P.O. box, but I'm like hesitant to give it out because I got an email from the post office saying like, you never picked up your key. We're closing your P.O. box. And then I went to the post office and they were like, no. They were like, you have the key. It's your P.O. box. I'm like, right, but I got this email. And they're like, let me see that email. I give them the email and they're like, I don't know what this is.
The post office is just like, we don't trust emails. We're the post office.
Yeah, that's our number one competitor.
Exactly.
Now, if you got a letter in the mail, sure. But email, it could have been anybody that sent this. So, I think it works. So I'm going to go check there maybe in a day or two.
Send us things. Send us more cans of wine.
Let me give out the address. Where the hell is this address?
That dang Louis DeJoy makes things so hard to figure out on these receipts, Tom.
Is that the Postmaster General now?
Yeah, that's the villain. That's America's villainous post office. Postmaster General.
Great, fully functioning country that we have. We're going to villainize these people.
I love that we have this guy, this like mustache twirling villain in charge of the postal service for some reason.
950 Fulton Street, P.O. Box 380110, Brooklyn, New York 11238 -9997. You don't have to put the dash in there now.
Were you guys all writing that down?
Well, they can rewind it. It's not a goddamn live show, Tim. Jesus Christ. Maybe they're using speech to text translation.
Yeah. How are you doing this week, Tom?
I'm doing good, Tim. I have by the time this comes out, the Super Bowl will have already happened.
Right. Or people might be watching the Super Bowl as they're listening to
Right.
this.
They might have, hey, everybody quiet at the party.
Yeah. We suggest doing it as a simulcast because much like Dark Side of the Moon and The Wizard of Oz, it syncs up in strange, surprising ways.
Right. But I don't know if you're aware of this, but just this past month, I don't really understand, but this past month, I guess, in New York, they legalized sports betting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Haven't you listened to a podcast, Tom?
Well, I was
watched 1 second of anything with commercials in it?
No, but somebody was telling me that they keep getting podcast ads, which is why I'm like, I'm not gonna like shit on it because who knows next week.
Tom, I'm sorry, if we don't have a DraftKings ad at this point, it's not happening.
We're never.
For us.
Yeah, that's probably true. They went after everybody.
Yeah, I think we were the one that they like nixed from their plan for some reason.
Because
they're like, this co-host isn't any fun. He's a bore. He's a scolding, sober bore.
Right. So, people that listen to this aren't fun. They don't like gambling.
Yeah, he hates vices.
But I don't listen to podcasts, so I didn't hear any of these ads. I don't watch any kind of television really, so I didn't see any of these ads. But I have to move my car once a week. And when I do, the radio, it's all ads for this and ads for getting your COVID vaccine or booster shot. Right. Which I'm kind of like, at this point, if you haven't gotten it, is a radio commercial going to convince you?
Do you think somebody's going to be like driving a car and be like, what? The vaccine is available?
Oh, it's out? What? Oh, I should get that. But I've been hearing tons of these ads. And so I'm currently on the prowl, Tim, for like, because the Super Bowl's boring. Football's boring, right?
I think so.
We're anti-American football on this podcast. I'm not well, I guess I am a little anti it because of like concussion injuries.
Yeah, that seemed to like die down. Remember, like a couple years ago, they were like, "This is the end of the NFL." I don't see how and everybody was on board for that. And Will Smith was even like, "I'm going to make a movie about it," and then the movie flopped, and I think everybody was like, "Uh-oh, maybe people like concussions, so now we're pro-concussion and pro-football now."
I mean, that movie, it's like, I get it that people don't want to watch movies about sad things, I think.
I mean, that's objectively not true.
But not like, I don't know, sad real-life things that, that movie just didn't look interesting enough.
Yeah, I think it was the color palette. It had that.
It was like very gray.
Yeah, it's like the gray blue.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you doing that? I got a lot to say about the color palettes of
whatever
modern
happened
movies.
To Technicolor movies, huh?
Yeah. Whatever happened to sepia?
Yeah.
Train pulling into station.
Although I did watch Nightmare Alley this weekend, and it was very good, I thought.
Oh, yeah?
With
Guillermo del Toro's Nightmare Alley?
Yeah. Tim, I didn't know it's about like a mentalist.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it was
a geek, right? It's a geek show.
Boy, yeah. And geeks play heavily into the movie, let me tell you.
Hey, just like this podcast, huh? Couple of geeks, couple of dweebs, geeks, and weirdos over here.
Well, these are the real deal geeks who bite heads off of chickens.
Yeah.
But yeah, good movie. Watch it. It's on HBO Max. It's not an ad for HBO Max. But anyway, I'm like,
you plugged so many things that
I
are
know.
not paying.
Jesus Christ. But
we should just send a bill to
we should
Ridgedale Wines or whatever. HBO Max. I bet we can just go to freaking DraftKings and be like, "Hey, we've been advertising for 6 weeks. Where's our money?"
You owe us $10,000.
And they'll be like, "Oh crap, yeah." And I think they're sending out so much money to so many podcasts. They'll be like, "Oh, okay,
yeah." Well, we don't want to get on the wrong side of podcasters.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've been, because there's like a ton of apps and a ton of ads, so I've been like fishing for like, what's the best deal? Because I hate, I don't hate gambling. I just don't. It doesn't appeal to me.
You don't have the gene that makes gambling all encompassing when you have money on something.
Yeah, I have it for other things. But thankfully not gambling. Where like if I lose like a few dollars gambling, I'm like, oh fuck this. I hate this. This is stupid. Give me my money back.
If I have like $3 on the outcome of a sporting event, I will be riveted I will watch every play.
Well, so that's what I'm talking about, because I'm never real into the Super Bowl, but I'm like, you know what? if the option is to use an app and like put $20 down on the game, like then then it will give me something to root for, something to be.
Why $20? Why not $200? Why not $2,000?
You know what, Tim, you're right. No, and one of these ads, this is what really spoke to me, because one of these ads on the radio is like, you can bet on everything, even the color of the Gatorade. Now I'm like,
that's where your ears perk up a little bit.
I'm like, the color of the Gatorade. Because listen, I think Gatorade, they've been really leaning into blue Gatorade over the years.
Well, what do you stop giving this out
I'm going to ruin the odds. What am I doing? But yeah, but I don't think you can do side bets on these apps without also like betting on who's going to win. And it's like, I don't know who the hell's going to win.
Yeah, I don't. Much like most years, I don't. Going into Super Bowl Sunday, not knowing what teams are playing in the big game.
So let me ask you this though: there is apparently a side bet. You know who the halftime show is, right?
It's Dr. Dre and his various cohorts, yeah.
Dr. Dre and friends. Dr. Dre et al.
Right.
So as a result of that, one of the side bets you can take is whether or not the hologram of Tupac Shakur will make an appearance.
I'm going to say absolutely not.
Now, keep in mind, just the other day, Snoop Dogg, who's one of the performers, bought Death Row Records.
That's true.
So now, maybe that grants him some kind of additional rights that were not previously available.
Sure, but...
So let me ask you this, and I don't know if this is a side bet. Do you think Tupac Shakur will make an appearance in some way, shape, or form? Maybe even just being on the big screen TV for a minute.
Yes. I think California Love will make an appearance there. And
yeah, right? Because they got to go through the hits.
And then why not have the hologram? They made the hologram.
They made the hologram years ago. And
take it out of mothballs. Yeah. Put it on the big stage.
Yeah. Well, and along with...
I'm changing my bet, Tom. Bring up the DraftKings app.
Stop mentioning the name of an app, Tim. They're not paying us.
We're just going to bill them and see if they pay us.
Well, to go back to Guillermo del Toro's Nightmare Alley, maybe they've improved Pepper's Ghost even further.
Oh, wow. There's Pepper's Ghost in there?
That's what Tupac Shakur's hologram was, Pepper's Ghost. Am I giving away secrets?
No, I thought you might have been getting Nightmare Alley confused with Steam Pipe Alley.
Oh, with Mario Cantone?
Yes, the local New York tri-state area children's show from the late 80s.
With Mario Cantone just screaming at everybody.
Yeah, but then being like, my dad never played catch with me. And then
he would say that on
a baseball
Steam Pipe
into
Alley?
a glove. Yeah.
What a weird show. I didn't like Steam Pipe Alley. It made me uncomfortable.
It was cool.
I mean, it was cool. Yeah. Anyway, look, who gives a shit about all this stuff? Tim, let's talk about online dating. Tim, this week it's romance week here at the Complete Guide to Everything because those were kissing noises. For those who can't see Tim like I can.
Tom, you're always making kissing noises at ladies on the street. Hey,
just when they walk by.
Yeah.
Just if they don't notice the other things I'm saying. Man, I've talked about this. People do that at my dog sometimes.
Make kissing noises?
Yeah.
Yeesh.
Like they just want the dog's attention, and I can't even imagine what it's like to be a woman.
Yeah. If it's demeaning for your dog, you're just like for a human woman. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Because
I'm also like as a dog owner, doesn't it like annoy you that like what? Hey, why are you trying to get the attention of my dog? Like, get your own dog to give you attention.
Yeah, and it's like you don't have anything for my dog. Like my dog, what best case scenario? My dog's gonna respond to his kissing noises, come over, and then you're not gonna have like a treat for her or anything.
Yeah.
The handyman in my building, he has treats on him sometimes, and he's nice, even though he always talks about cooking her in the oven like a sausage.
That's pretty funny, though. He's not really going to do it, though, right?
I hope not, but my dog barks at him sometimes. I think she understands what he's saying.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, you're being fresh. Knock it off. Tim, it's romance week, so besides just making kissing noises at people walking down the street.
Don't do that.
Unless
what?
it's your wife.
In France, I think that flies, right?
In France, all kinds of stuff flies, Tim.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen these Pepe Le Pew cartoons?
I have, and that's where I get 90% of my information about France.
Exactly. Tim, we're talking about online dating.
Yeah.
Which I don't think we've ever done an episode about, right?
We haven't. I've never done it in real life, Tom.
You've never had sex, Tim? You're admitting you're a virgin here on the Romance Week podcast? Tim,
No,
you
I've
have
never-
a child.
I've never done online dating.
Oh, I see. When
You were trying to convince me. You were like, we should do a lot of online dating to prepare for this episode.
Well,
and I
Tim-
was like, Tom, I'm married. You have a long-term girlfriend.
Let me tell you, between this week searching for the best gambling deals and then Googling different dating websites, Google just thinks I'm a fucking degenerate shithead.
I mean, no. Being on a dating app doesn't make you a degenerate shithead.
It does if you're in a relationship. I'm sure that they see like, oh, this guy has the same address as a woman.
So you're worried about the algorithm spying on you and making connections to the point where like you think it reflects poorly on you, that the algorithm like has like pieced together all these things and might get the wrong impression that you're cheating on your girlfriend.
Yes, because not full disclosure, I guess, but hopefully my girlfriend isn't listening to this right now. But like, I bought her flowers this is the order of things I did. I bought her flowers online, then I looked for gambling websites, and then I looked up a bunch of dating websites. So
At least the flowers were first.
Yeah, that's what I say. Google, take me off your list of pieces of shit, please. Do you think Google has just
Google
like...
knows, yeah, Google knows far worse about you, Tom.
Yeah, that's probably true. But yeah, I've done online dating. You met your special someone, not before online dating, but like I guess in like online dating's infancy. Maybe.
I had an OkCupid profile. That was the only thing I had. And that was a very 2010?
Yeah, that was like one of the first, cuz like eHarmony and stuff existed before that, but I feel like online dating
they were still like stigmatized, right? It was when it was like, that's weird. I'm still going to meet people in the real world, right?
Yeah.
And now everybody acknowledges like, look, you can't do anything in the goddamn real world.
The real world doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, I think like early online dating things were a little more geared towards finding somebody to marry or be in a long-term relationship. And I feel like a lot of the early ones were geared towards like, hey, you don't live in like a city. It's hard to meet people. That's like the customer we're gunning for.
Right.
Where now it's just like, no, it's every, it's just grown and grown and grown to the fact where, there's an online dating site out there for everyone, even married people. There are actually plenty for married people, I think.
All right, even for single people, and this is what I never liked about back in the day, like
Yeah.
when I had an OkCupid profile. Like I nuked it after like a week because I was just like, it's so embarrassing if somebody that you know like sees the way that you describe yourself to make you seem attractive and interesting, right?
Right. Yeah, because you might put something
It's like, I don't want anybody who knows me in real life to ever come across this.
Yeah,
like,
'cause
oh,
it's like-
this is what Tim thinks. Tim thinks this is the sales pitch that he should be putting out there.
Yeah. Oh, Tim says he's into skydiving. He signed up once and never showed up. Yeah, because you're trying to present yourself. And yeah, I've in my time online dating have like, come across friends. And it's very embarrassing to see somebody.
I mean, it shouldn't be, right? Like, really, it should be an objective. I did a weird thing last night. I was like, I'm going to watch the first 15 minutes of the movie Magnolia. Paul Thomas Anderson's
very long movie.
Yeah, exactly. But I was like, I just want to watch the first 15 minutes. And there is a scene in the beginning where, what's his face?
Tom Cruise?
Nope.
Philip Seymour Hoffman?
Nope.
I don't know. I've never seen Magnolia.
Dr. Steve Brule.
Oh, okay, yeah.
What the hell is his name?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah. All right, continue.
Anyway, he plays a police officer in the movie, and this was in the year 2000 before widespread online dating. Tom, you're looking it up.
I'm trying to find out who's.
Why can't we think
John
of his
C.
name?
Riley.
John C. Riley. Okay.
Yeah. It's such a. I mean, John Riley's a very generic name for such a unique actor.
You add the C in there, and then it becomes elevated in a
I'm sure
way.
he added the C because somebody named John Riley already registered with SAG.
Yeah. Anyway, he's doing like this thing where you have on the phone.
Yeah.
You describe yourself, and it's like, if this sounds good to you, here's my mailbox, and like let's leave a message for me, and we'll set up a date. But he is just objectively describing himself. He's like, I'm a police officer. This is how tall I am. This is like,
so it's not interesting at all.
It's not interesting at all, but it's also like, oh, like you get a good sense of this guy's personality and his physical attributes. Like, it shouldn't be embarrassing if you have a profile that you've built out to be like, but now it's not even profiles, right? I've never looked at Tinder. I've never seen these apps. When people say swipe right in a comedy sketch, I'm like, what are they talking about?
Tim.
Swipe? What? What is right?
I think you're protesting too much. Now it sounds like you've got profiles on all these apps. Yeah, well,
but that's the worst way. That would be the worst way to cheat on your significant other, by like having a publicly available page where it's like, this is me and I'm looking to date people.
Yeah, here's multiple pictures of me just to make sure, so it can't be like, maybe in this one picture he just looks like this guy I work with. Well, let me say this first off, because like, some people that friends that I've seen on these sites might be listening, and I've never been embarrassed.
None of our friends listen to this stuff.
I've never been embarrassed by any of their things, actually. Like, It's always been like, okay, no, this is who this person is. Although there's somebody I used to work with and worked under, was like a big boss that like, her profile kept coming up in my apps back in the day, and she was lying about her age by like a decade, and it was just like very embarrassing to me.
What's the long game there?
Well, that's the thing with all these things, that people lie on these apps, and like you shouldn't because it's like, and that's what I've heard as like women that I've talked to. I don't know that. No, I guess I know a couple of guys that have done online dating. But I feel like I've talked to more women who have done it because I feel like that was a better perspective of like, what are you seeing? What's going on? What am I competing with? How big do my muscles have to be? How tough do I have to be?
How much do I reference my dong in the actual verbiage?
Is 3 references enough? Do people get it? But I feel like that's the number one guy thing I've heard about guys from heterosexual women, that guys lie about their height. So like,
oh, Tom, this is a whole thing with you. You are the most height sensitive person. We get it, Tom.
No, but it's a crazy thing to lie about, because it's like, well, you can lie about your job. You can lie about how rich you are. But if you lie about how tall you are, the second you walk in, the person's going to be like, oh, that person lied about their height.
I always say that I'm shorter than I am.
So then people are like, whoa!
I walk in on my knees with my shoes on my knees,
dwarf style,
dwarf style, and then they go like, "Oh my, I guess he wasn't kidding about that." And then I pop up, and they're delighted.
Do you do like a Willy Wonka style somersault?
Yeah,
onto your feet.
It's a dwarf / Willy Wonka entrance to all of my blind dates a decade ago.
Yeah, and luckily, your now wife, one of the biggest dwarf and Willy Wonka fans I'd ever met.
She found the Venn diagram exactly
from minute one, and disappointed ever since that you didn't own a chocolate factory that she could take a tour of, and that you're no good at golf like Dorf was.
Look, Dorf wasn't very good at golf, and guess what? Willy Wonka's chocolate factory was a freaking nightmare.
That's true, yeah. So, what were we talking about in regards to
online dating?
Just like profiles, yeah. Be honest, I think is my takeaway with these.
Hey, Tom. Tom Reynolds for honesty. It's the best policy.
Yeah, that's my public service announcement for dating applications. There's a lot of dating applications, but they're almost all owned by Match.com.
Is that true?
Yeah. I looked up because I made a list of the apps that I was on.
Mm-hmm. And you're not currently on them anymore?
I'm not currently on them anymore, but all Match owns Match.com, of course. They own Tinder. They own OkCupid.
Match owns Tinder?
Yeah. They own OkCupid. And they own Hinge.
Hinge is one that... Is that the one that, is that the default one that people are using now?
I don't know. Hinge is the one where I met my girlfriend.
Okay. Now, what's the hook? What's Hinge's hook?
Well, let me say first
it all hinges on what?
Don't go to Hinge.com, because that's a website for a door hardware company, which, I mean, hats off to them for grabbing that 5-letter domain. That's a great website. I'm sure 95% of their traffic is accidental, but...
Yeah, but then people are like, oh, I do. That door has been acting up on me.
Yeah, and hey, maybe maybe that's why I haven't been able to find love. Maybe,
the squeaky door.
I finally get the love of my life home, and then they hear that of the bedroom door, and they're like, actually, check, please. So maybe it's working out for Hinge.com. People are going on there buying new hinges that, are silent as the wind. Like a soft wind.
Silent as the wind? What about silent as no wind? Silent as the absence of anything happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hinge is the dating app designed to be deleted?
Mm-hmm.
Record scratch.
Yeah. Hey, don't they want to make more money?
Tom, I hear it's also built on an acclaimed Nobel Prize winning algorithm.
Yeah, and I looked that up because I was like, all right, come on. But it's true. I mean, it's an algorithm meant for more things than that, but that is like one of the things that was like how to match like potential mates.
So wait, but what did it win the Nobel Prize for?
Just being like a good algorithm.
They just have like like the Nobel Prize in what?
Algorithm science, technology, something like that.
Yeah.
But I liked Hinge because Hinge was, I mean, all these apps are different, but Hinge was like, so Hinge asks questions and then you answer the questions, which I liked because I felt like you got a better idea of a person's personality.
Were they multiple choice?
No, it's like essay form.
No, never mind.
Well, but here's the thing. My girlfriend now of almost 3 years, she answered every question with just beets because she doesn't like beets. So it's like, what's something you don't like? And it's like beets. And then
the food.
Yeah.
I thought you meant like she made sick beats.
No,
like,
or like the Dr. Dre headphones.
Yeah.
No, the vegetable beets. And she just
Okay.
answered beets. You can pick which questions you answer, and there's like a million questions.
So her profile was a big joke to her.
It was a big joke to her, but you know, I like
but
jokes.
Very important to you, yeah.
And I was like, this girl's cute, and you know, treats all this like a joke.
Right.
Maybe I want her
Maybe
to
she'll
move
treat
in with
me
me
like a joke. Yeah.
Right. Which is really all I'm looking for, is just to be treated like a joke.
It's fine.
I mean, I guess you treat me like a joke, so it's just something I'm looking for in all my relationships.
It's fine. It's a fine way to go through life.
But yeah, so and then it's the app meant to be deleted, and that was what, like, when we had like the boyfriend girlfriend conversation, that's like how it came about. Was because she was like, oh, I already deleted, you know, we had been dating for like a couple of months, and she was like, oh, I already deleted my account. And I was like, oh, I haven't been on there, I swear, but like, I'll go ahead and delete my account now. And then I was like, are we like boyfriend girlfriend? It was like I was 10 years old again having this conversation.
Yeah. Did she wear your class ring on a necklace around her neck?
No, I didn't have my class ring on me, unfortunately. But I had a pin, and I pinned her. But it was just like, you know, it was like a pin I got with like a comic book. It was a Spider-Man pin.
The death of Superman, Tom?
I put the death of Superman armband around her. But yeah, so we were like a Hinge success story, I think. And I liked Hinge. Like, I hadn't gone on any...
Calm down. They're not paying us either, Tom.
I hadn't gone on any dates with anyone else on Hinge. Mm-hmm. Before, like, she was my first Hinge date and last, hopefully.
Wow. That algorithm really
yeah,
it
so
knew that you would want an extended bit profile that would strike your fancy.
No, I mean, I think that was like, you know, Hinge was like, this guy will probably like a bit as a profile. And I mean, luckily also she was cute. So I was like, all right, I'll take a chance that, you know, this might be a maniac. But she wasn't. At least that I know of yet.
Do you want to know the Hinge timeline from their website about how Hinge came to be?
Sure.
All right. In 2012, Justin, who's this guy, I think, creates Hinge.
Yeah.
All right. At that point, I had already met my wife, Tom, so there's no chance. In 2013, Hinge launches a mobile version and puts its last $25,000 into a massive launch party, giving Tinder a run for its money. Very cool, Tom. A party.
Should have invited me.
2014, Hinge goes global and expands to the UK, Canada, India, and Australia. 2016, 2 years later, 4 years after he created this,
Yeah.
Hinge relaunches the app with a renewed commitment, helping people find love. And then 2021, 30 million dates and counting. There's a lot omitted in that.
Well, I think there's probably a lot of times where it's just like, then nothing really happened.
Yeah, I guess
we were just running an app.
30 million dates.
That's a lot of dates. Yeah, because
how do they say that? Because
well, let me tell you, they ask you.
No, but here's the thing. Oh, they ask you what?
They ask you if you went on a date with a person.
Yeah, but okay. Is it 30 million first dates, or is it if? All right, so
yeah,
you
they
and
might
your
have done
girlfriend
some averaging.
Went on to date for years, right?
Yeah, we've had at least a million dates since then.
Yeah, every time you go out to dinner or eat a meal together, is Hinge another date for Tom and his girlfriend?
That
another
would
Hinge
explain
success
that
story.
guy that follows us around, Tim.
Told you not to give the address away on this thing.
All right, Tim. Now I'm wine drunk enough to really get into stuff.
Now it's time for the real show to start.
Now it is time. Much like our good friend Sergio Morales told us that his father said during a Santana concert, now it's time for the real show.
Yeah, he said that at intermission. Right
After Santana got done with all of his what was that album he did with that Smooth was on with all the duets?
Supernatural, Tom.
Yeah, so it's he did all those songs. Now it's time for the real show. Tim, let me tell you about online dating. Because you've never online dated, but I have online dated. And it stinks. It doesn't stink. It's fine. I'm just arguing with myself.
Yeah. This is what happens when you have too much wine.
Yeah, I just argue with myself. But I had one short-term relationship, I guess, through online dating before I met my current girlfriend, my current and only girlfriend. I shouldn't just refer to her as current. And you know what? That relationship, it was great. It was somebody I met and we got along, but after 2 months or so, it's just there's not really a spark. We get along, we have similar interests and everything, but there's not a spark, and we split very no drama
amicably
whatsoever.
Yeah,
and we hung out afterwards, a month or two later we hung out one time because it was nah, I still like you, you're fun and everything, but
one time, and then we decided never to do it again.
Well, and then I think she moved away and stuff, and then I started dating somebody else, and it was well, I shouldn't be dating somebody while I'm seeing somebody I used to date. But I've had some bad online dates, Tim, and I had, you know what? I don't have, so this was always my opening at whenever I would have an online date, I would ask the other person, tell me some of your bad online dates. And, luckily none of them were well, this is one of them.
That'd be a good one. Treating you like a joke, Tom. You like that, though.
I do. It's my kink. I think I was I think I understood myself well enough to be I don't think this is going to be a horrible date. And anybody that thinks this date is horrible is a bad person that I don't care what they think.
A bad person? If they didn't have fun on a date with you, Tom?
Yeah, just a bad person that I don't care what they think.
All right. Noted.
Because I remember having a date with this one girl, very attractive girl, very attractive in pictures, but then when I met her,
all right, Tom, you don't have to. You don't. This is not the road we need to go down.
But anyway,
let's keep this.
I was
keep the
gonna
focus
say,
away from physical
still, when I
appearance
met her
here
in person,
and your
she was-
disappointment with
she was very
women's physical appearance.
She was very attractive, but like not in the ways that I am attracted to, I guess.
Okay. Sure.
Where it was just
it's a
like,
solid dismount right there, Tom.
it was just like, this isn't my type of person. But literally, I just remember this date. All this person did was talk about themselves to the point where it never even came up like what I did for a living.
Well, thank God. You'd have to talk about your podcast.
Well, so that brings me on to my next point, Tim. Being an online celebrity and dating, hey, it ain't easy.
Celebrity?
Online celebrity.
I mean, that's just celebrities.
F-list online celebrity.
All right, so
so
having a pod, that's go on.
The two ways this affected me was occasionally I would get messages from people who listen to the podcast,
Right.
which is not a bad thing at all, except I'm a bad person, and it would just make me very uncomfortable. You know what I mean?
I mean, I think it's probably better than disclosing this thing
Oh, absolutely.
and then knowing that somebody's going home that night. And,
Well, I'll get into that.
Looking to dredge up some stuff you said in the past.
Well, no, I'll get into
Get
that.
you banned from Hinge.
I'll get into that stuff. But like
Why is Hinge platforming this man?
having people message me that knew me from the podcast just made me feel uncomfortable, which to your point, which I'll get to about having a podcast in general, it just made me feel like I was at a distinct disadvantage. You know?
Because they knew so much about you.
They knew something about me. Well, not even so much. They knew like an exaggerated version of me from the podcast.
This
Like,
is exactly how you are in real life, Tom.
I don't talk this much in real life, though.
You barely talk at all.
Yeah. I like to remain mysterious, Tim.
Yeah, get a couple of cans of wine into this guy.
Then
though.
I'm I was going to say an open boat. An open book. That's
two
the
cans of
phrase.
wine talking right there, yeah.
But that was the other problem, that once it was like, well, the conversation gets like, what do you do? I mean, I guess it was a little bit easier for me because I could be like, oh, I'm a young adult novelist. I write books.
And then they're like, well, you're not so young. you are an adult.
No, it's not. I'm not the young one. It's who the books are for. But at least with those, it was like, all right, look, if somebody's like willing to sit down and read a novel before they meet me, that's fine. I'm okay with that. The problem with the podcast is that it's too accessible. So I never, ever mentioned the podcast before a first date.
Okay. Before.
I would often mention it if a first date was going well enough, I would mention it. Because like it was the kind of thing where I couldn't be too obscure about it. You know what I mean? That's not the right word.
Then you just look weird.
Because if they Google Tom Reynolds, it will come up.
Right.
So yeah, then it looks like I'm trying to hide something.
Were they also like, so why weren't you going to tell me that you were an anti-choice congressman from Ohio?
No, he was from New York. The anti-choice Tom Reynolds congressman.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tim, these Tom Reynoldses nowadays, they're up to all kinds of hijinks that I keep getting their emails about, and I hate it. There's some Tom Reynolds that's big in the coin collecting world, and I've just been inundated with coin emails lately.
I mean, that's fine. Just try to get a piece of that coin,
You should
Tom.
see how many emails I get.
Is it Bitcoin?
No,
if it
it's
is,
regular
take
coin.
It.
It's old pennies and shit.
That's not gonna be good for anybody.
And
it's
the,
not even on the blockchain.
Yeah, and the shitty Tom Reynolds congressman, that's actually kind of fun because sometimes people email me thinking it's him and asking to appear at things, and I agree. And
Do you?
Oh, absolutely. I'm like, I will be there. I am happy to support this person. And then block their email afterwards. So yeah, being like Googleable stinks for first dates, because also that one of my dating tips is Google the people you're going to go out on dates with, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's like common sense. I think
we live in hell, right?
Oh, absolutely.
This like this objectively sucks that like anybody has a treasure trove of information about you before even meeting you.
Let alone having like hundreds and hundreds of hours of podcasting that somebody could listen to and then have. I'm going into these dates. I only know like, a lot of times I like knew because I would chat with people for a bit before I would suggest a date or before somebody else would suggest a date.
What do the chats look like? Can you send me those chat logs?
No, and actually that was one of the things I was actually kind of pissed when my girlfriend deleted her Hinge account because it deleted like our entire chat log. And I would have liked more of that as like a memento. And
you
she
printed it out and
maybe I'll need it in a court proceeding one day.
Yeah, it's probably best that she deleted it.
Well, but she holds over my head all the time that I think it took me like 5 days to respond to her. She messaged me before I responded back.
The beat lady reached out.
Yeah. And it was just like a very, it was like a joke about a picture that I had or whatever.
She called you she said something disparaging about your appearance.
Like, you're like a real big doof.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll put her on ice for 5 days to, really keep her guessing if it is a will they or won't they situation.
So did you sit on that for 5 days, or did you just like not check the app for 5 days?
No, I saw it.
Were you playing games, Tom? Were you playing games?
I wasn't playing games. I think I was nervous to message back. Once I messaged back, though,
because she seemed so mean.
Yeah,
you didn't want to get razzed again.
Exactly. Like, I don't want to get roasted on this app. No, but then once I messaged back, like I didn't do shit like that again. I kept a rapport. I mean, I think that's the worst thing about online dating is that people play games and people ghost and things like that. And like, it just sucks that it just kind of, I don't know. Then that deters people from wanting to do online dating at all.
Right.
And I am glad that like online dating is a more relevant thing. Like, I mean, we know multiple people who are in long-term relationships and married through online dating that are in like very good relationships.
Yeah, no, it's a good way, I think, to meet people because especially now, we all stay in our bubbles and like our tribes and like it's you just don't meet new people.
Right. And it's like, plenty before this, it was like you meet people at a bar. And I mean, Tim, you've hung out with me at plenty of bars. I can count on one hand the amount of times like me or you went up to like a girl we thought was attractive and like struck up a conversation.
Yeah, or interacted with anybody who wasn't in our group at the bar.
Right. Exactly. Because that's like kind of what we weren't going to a bar for.
Yeah.
And some people
there to engage in problem drinking.
Exactly. I wasn't there to meet the love of my life. And some people, that's, it's different for them. That's they go to a bar and they're outgoing and they meet people, and that's great. But that just wasn't me, and I don't think that was you. So online dating was I feel like a better way to get to know somebody rather than being drunk at a bar and hitting it off. Not because that's lesser, but just because it's like the odds of that happening are so small.
Right.
I feel like I know more people that like got drunk and hit it off with somebody in a bar and then like wound up married to them than like one night stands. But I think that's just because of like the people I know.
You know, a classier.
I know a bunch of prudes that wouldn't give it out on the first night.
Exactly.
But I've never told this story on the podcast, but then when I met my girlfriend, I don't think I have. When I met my girlfriend, like we went on a first date and it was fine. It was lovely. I think we were both like very nervous. So it was just like a good date. It was like a good, like, let's go on a second date. And then on the second day, she got hit by a car.
That you were driving.
No, not that I was driving, but within moments of our. So basically, it was like I was like, let's go to this restaurant. And by this point, I was a little smitten. So I was like, okay, I like this girl. Let me invite her to like a nice restaurant.
My favorite restaurant, Hooters.
Hooters. I mean, the waitresses are just so nice there. They're so outgoing.
Exactly.
No, it was like a nice restaurant that you needed a reservation to. And me being a dumbass didn't know that you needed a reservation.
Oh, Tom.
Yeah.
You didn't do your research? Tom, you always talk about how you like to do your own research, and you didn't even do it for the restaurant that you wanted to take.
You know what? I did enough research to see that they were booked up, but they took standbys. But I was like, all right, I'll get a reservation at a place across the street. So that
well, Tom, this sounds like the way this story is going. It sounds like this is gonna be all your fault.
Oh, it 100% was. So we meet at the restaurant that I couldn't get a reservation to. And I'm like, hello. She gets out of a cab and we say hi. And then I'm like, hello, 2 for dinner, please. And they were like, do you have a reservation, sir? And I didn't. So they
hate when they do that. When they ask if you have a reservation.
So they told us to fuck off, and I was like, "Don't worry, I'm
way to treat.
I'm a romantic man, so I've booked us a backup reservation, right across the street." And then as we were crossing the street, she got hit by a car.
Oh, God damn it, Tom!
And it was crazy. Thank God she was not hurt at all. But
yeah, how hard was she hit? Did she fall to the ground?
She was hit hard enough that she went up on the hood and then down on the ground.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so like it looked real bad.
I've heard this story before. I'm playing along, Tom.
But she like just happened to turn, I think, to maybe admire me. And
probably.
And the car like hit her.
Check out the profile that you cut.
Yeah, hit her in like the best way it could have hit her, where like it hit her from behind, so it didn't like buckle her knees or anything. So she just kind of like flew up onto the hood and then fell down onto the street. And you just went,
you're fine, get up, you're embarrassing me. You're embarrassing me in front of the car.
No, Tim, I yelled out, epic fail.
Oh, nice.
No, I turned into a maniac for a minute and I opened up the guy's door. Just because I didn't know like what to do. And what
if he shot you with a gun?
What
would you have done then?
I guess I would have just bled out.
Yeah.
No,
probably.
my first thought was like, this guy's gonna try and like speed away and like run her over, or just speed away. So like I opened the door to like stop that from happening. And it was like an old man who like was making a left and just like didn't see her. So it's just like me screaming at an old man. Well, he's
Did
like,
you help her up?
Oh yeah, I ran over to help her up.
Sure. Yeah, of course.
I made sure she was okay. But that was just like, what are you doing? You shouldn't be driving. Like, just scaring the life out of this guy.
You dumb old man! I'll murder you. I'll wring your neck.
But then I was like, I asked my now girlfriend, like, is it okay? Like, do you want an ambulance? Like, should we call the cops? And she was like, no, I think I'm okay. And I was like, all right, like, should we let
good,
this...
because I'm really hungry.
It's like, should we let this guy go? And she's like, yeah, it's fine. So, like, he left.
Did you just sock him in the stomach one before
I was like, just pretend like I'm punching you right now. No, we like went into the restaurant. She went to the bathroom to like make sure.
Never came back.
No, to like make sure
paramedics came 3 hours later.
Make sure she wasn't like seriously injured, like didn't have like a huge bruise or something like that. But then we were in this restaurant and nobody else was in the restaurant. So it seemed like we were in purgatory. Like we both had gotten hit by a car and died. It was just very, very, we went from
I
a
like
restaurant.
that you act like that's the most reasonable thing. Good thing you got a reservation, Tom.
Well, exactly. We went from a restaurant that wouldn't seat us to a restaurant that was completely empty.
Right.
And then...
Did you look up on the wall and there was iconography from every major world religion? And then
Yes.
one by one, all of your friends from the island walked in?
Exactly. There is a cross, a Star of David, the crescent moon, all these different the fish that
And you were like, hey, that's Hurley. That's John Locke.
yeah.
That's Jack Shepherd.
So yeah, it was very weird, and there was only like one waiter, and he just kept coming over to ask for our orders, but we were both like so shaken up by this, like physically shaking and just like adrenaline running, that like we just weren't interested in eating. And then we finally ordered food and then like barely ate it. And then we went to like a bar across the street. But let me tell you, is somebody getting hit by a car during the date? Great icebreaker. Because after that, it was like, well, I'm not afraid of this date anymore. I just stared death in the eyes.
It's also a great leg breaker, Tom.
She didn't break her legs. Don't start. So that's what I would recommend. Hire an old man. That's what you did. You hired an old man to mow down this lady on your second date. Yeah, it was like the first date.
Another Hinge success story.
The first date went well enough.
This episode's sponsored by Hinge.
Hinge should offer this as a service, maybe. We can help. Hey, are you nervous on dates? We'll help break the ice by breaking some legs. So that was a good online dating story. But then I dated this one lady on one of these websites. I forget which website it is, honestly. But
how many have you been on? Have you ever been on Tinder? Is Tinder more of a hookup app?
You know, that's
not
what
dating.
it's painted.
I don't want to talk about that stuff. That stuff's gross.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, I don't want that. I want a serious relationship. You know, I think that's what is viewed as, but I don't think that's necessarily what is the reality. We know somebody who just recently got engaged, and they met through Tinder.
Okay. Really?
Yeah, I'll tell you who it is afterwards.
Okay. You can say it now. None of the people listening know them. Don't say it.
But I think the thing with these apps is like none of these apps really cost money unless you want to become like a super user, unless you got like some kind of deadline. You know, your grandpa left a thing in his will that you only get the estate if you get married by a certain age.
Right.
Then sure, pony up the $15 a month to get the super user. But otherwise, all these things are free. So I don't know of anyone who's done online dating that hasn't been on multiple apps.
Right.
Just because why not? Why not spread them out? And that's also a weird thing. Like sometimes you'll be on an online app and you'll match with somebody, but for whatever reason you don't message them, but then you'll like match on another app and you'll be like, oh, hey, we matched on this, right? Like,
and then you're both like, it's kind of desperate that they're on all these apps, isn't it?
no, I think it's more, hey,
but then
how could two apps be wrong?
Yeah. Hey, 2 Nobel Prize winning algorithms.
Yeah.
If they both agree, well then, here we go. Or 1 Nobel Prize winning and 1 crappy algorithm. That's even better. It's like this is meant to be.
I think the Nobel Prize. Nah, maybe it's the Peabody. That like anyone can nominate themselves, and then a lot of people do that, and then they say like the Peabody nominated. We should do that.
Yeah, we should do that. We should have legitimately won a Peabody by now.
We should have legitimately won a Nobel Prize by now.
Yeah. Physics.
Well, not in physics. But I went on a few dates with this one lady, and it was like the worst online dating experience I had, which was like the first 2 dates were nothing like what?
I'm just remembering we did a live show like this where you recounted your dating stories, but you also drank a lot of whiskey during it. And by the end, the audience was like yelling things at you, and you were like antagonizing them because like the things that you were saying were so offensive.
God, yeah, I forgot about that. You know, when we were discussing earlier, like, have we ever done online dating? And we were both like, no, I don't think so. It's not on our Wikipedia page. I forgot we did do it for a live show once, and I made some very broad generalizations.
To the point where women in the audience got up and like walked out.
Nobody walked out, but some people did yell from the audience. And some people did give me an earful afterwards. But the joke's on them. By that time, I was too drunk to remember what I had said earlier or what they said later. But this lady that I went on these dates with, the dates were fine. It was a pretty lady. She was very successful.
Tom, you don't have to. All right.
But our last date, we were at like a fancy place, and we had like a booth. And it was like a 4-person booth, and the waitress came over. You know, we had already been there for a little bit. And she was like, I'm so sorry, but like we have a group who's been waiting for an hour for a table. Would you mind if I moved you literally just right across here? You know, it's like 10 feet away.
To a 2-top?
To just a smaller booth so we can give this 4-person booth. And like the date had been going well. It had been going well enough, I think, that it was like we were there early and they sat us in like, oh, yeah, we got everything open. And we had been there long enough that now they were busy and they were like, can we move you? So it's like, yeah, sure. And they move us. And then as soon as the waitress walks away, she like seats the other group. And this girl goes to me, can you believe they made us move just so those fat people can sit there?
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. So, I forget. There were like a few other things like that she said that all of a sudden on the 3rd date, I was like, oh no, this person's a bad person. And this person, like towards the end of the night, like as we're leaving, she's like, she invited me back to her place, which I don't know if you know, but that's code.
For what?
For
pillow
like
fight?
For like a pillow fight, or like I don't know if you have to like, you know, we've been at that place for a while. Maybe you like really have to take a dump, but you're too embarrassed to take it at the restaurant. Maybe you'd like to come back to my place, get a more private place to take a dump. And so I was like, sure. However, let me tell you, let me just preface this now with, what were you going to say?
Sorry. No, I was going to interrupt you, but go on.
I was like, I do have to go home tonight because I have a dog and I have to walk my dog at some point. And this woman immediately was just like, oh, fine, forget it. And I was like, oh, I mean, I'm just trying to be, I don't want to like, come up to your place and you get
This lady's mean.
Yeah, I don't want to come up to your place and you be mad when I leave at some point because I have to walk my dog. That's all. And she's like, fine, that's fine. And I was like, okay. So she's like, no, I don't want you to come up then. And I was like, oh, all right. Like, and and in full honesty, it was like, in my mind, I was like, I can come up for like literally a nightcap for one drink.
Right.
We can maybe make out a bit, but we don't have to do anything beyond that.
Well, she thought like, oh, it's gonna be old love him and leave him Reynolds.
Well, and that's
We're
why
gonna do the deed, and then he's gonna immediately be like, well, time to walk the
well,
dog.
and that's why
See you never.
I wanted to preempt that and let her know. I thought I was being.
This is why the Dunkin' Donuts time to make the donuts guy.
That's why he could never find love. Because he had to get up
Exactly.
so early to make the goddamn
Yeah, he'd be
donuts.
like, he'd always disclose, like, you should know, I'd love to come up for a nightcap, but I do have to wake up very early
right.
when it's time to make the donuts.
Yeah. So I thought I was being a perfect gentleman by being like, hey, let me bring this up now rather than, get what I want and then bring it up. But she got like so offended by it and like sent me off. And then like the next, I forget if it was that night or the next day, I like text her and I was like, I had a really good time. And she was like, she literally wrote back, well, unless you fucked your Uber driver, I don't know how you could have had a good time.
Wow.
And then my next text was, I don't think this is really working out.
I don't like you. You're mean.
Yeah, but I did get like a real satisfaction by being the one to tell her like, yeah, you know what, actually, this isn't working out.
You stink.
Yeah. And
You were like, I liked what you said about that booth full of people, but I got to draw the line somewhere.
no,
the use of the F word in a text is a bridge too far.
no, but she like texted me back like trying to like get her digs in, and like I did not get any digs in. It was just like,
I call you a Frankenstein.
Tim, she didn't call me a Frankenstein. She wasn't that mean, or maybe it just didn't occur to her that I looked like a Frankenstein. But yeah, so that was the end of that.
Tom, well, I'm glad that after all those nightmares,
Yeah,
you had a Hinge success story
right.
with the Beats lady.
Well, don't give out the Hinge. Look, they're not paying us either.
Tom, you said that. Look, we'll bill them too. Look, these companies, they spend so much on marketing. They don't know what they're like. Complete guide to everything. Yeah, I guess we
sounds,
did.
Sounds
they say
legitimate.
Yeah, and they listen. They be like, "Wow, this must have been branded content." He told a whole story about how he met the love of his life on our dumb app. All right.
Well, they probably don't think their app's dumb, Tim. They,
Yeah, and they're like,
after
"Oh, we got
shaking
this."
the hand with Mr. Nobel,
Yeah,
they're like, "Hey, I guess our app's all right."
yeah, it's one of the smartest ones, I guess. And then to be like, okay, they said we agreed to pay them $375,000. I guess we gotta pony up. Next thing you know, Hinge is going out of business. We're getting the Nobel Prize.
We're getting their Nobel Prize through a collection agency.
Exactly.
If you like the show, you can find out more at TCGTE.com. Hey, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/complete guide. You can get bonus episodes, including Books the Podcast. This week, Tim finished up The Hobbit, and I just watched The Hobbit movie, a supercut, a fan edit of The Hobbit.
Of the 3 Peter Jackson Hobbit movies.
Put into one very, very, very long movie. Patreon.com/complete guide. Follow us on social media. You can find all the links at tcgte.com. Tim, you know anything about this? Speaking of being a an online celebrity. This riot.
Oh, wait, hold on one second.
Okay.
I want to do a Tim and Tom Solve Your Problems
Oh.
episode or revive it a little bit.
Okay.
So if you have some brand new problems for 2022, email us at thecompleteguidetoeverything@gmail.com. That's thecompleteguidetoeverything@gmail.com with your problems, and we'll give all the advice that you need.
Yeah, you've heard how good I am at dating.
Yeah.
Send me your dating questions. Tim, have you heard about these celebrity only apps?
Ooh, yeah.
Like
I read about them
Raya.
in I've been reading a lot of blind item gossip lately.
I do know that because you've sent me multiple blind item gossip articles.
Yeah. So I hear about Raya a lot.
Oh, really? What do you hear about it? Spill the tea.
Yeah, various celebrities get embroiled, and they're usually blind items, and I don't really know a lot of celebrities these days. So, like,
oh yeah,
and it's usually revealed to be like some housewife or somebody from Vanderpump Rules that like. It's like I don't know who these people are.
Yeah,
but sometimes it's about like Ben Affleck or Gwyneth Paltrow or something. So it's nice.
Yeah, well, I was reading this one about Matt Perry was on there, and I guess people are mad because this like woman, outed him on Raya, like that she matched with him. But this woman was 19.
Matthew Perry?
Yeah, Matthew Perry was 51, and she said, a lot of people were saying I'm a bully and mean for posting this, and it made me feel kind of bad. But at the same time, I feel like a lot of guys in Hollywood are talking to all these young girls, and it's something that I think a lot of people should be aware of. And that happened with Ben Affleck, too. A woman posted that she like unmatched with Ben Affleck because she didn't think it was really him, and he sent a video where he's like, "Hi, why'd you unmatch? It's me, Ben Affleck." Yeah. I like that stuff because I like to see, like, you know what? Even Matthew Perry, I get it. I get that it's tougher. But Ben Affleck, I would love to date Ben Affleck. And so I like to see that, like, you know what? Ben Affleck isn't, he isn't above using an app on his phone.
He's in a committed relationship with Jenny from the Block, Tom.
Nowadays, yeah. But
yeah.
I had one celebrity that I saw on an app.
John Turturro.
No, that was jury duty. I saw John Turturro.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, right.
Oh, fuck. I have to call into jury duty in a few days.
This is great that I brought this up.
Thank God you reminded me.
Who is the celeb, or does this remain a blind item?
It was Jamie Alexander from the Thor movies. And from
I never would have guessed that.
From the TV show Blind Spot.
I don't know that guy.
But Tim, no, it's a woman, Tim. It's not a guy. Could you imagine
Jamie Oliver?
Could you imagine, Tim, if I were dating somebody from the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Wow, Tom. Well, what happened? Did you message her?
She didn't match with me. I saw her and I pressed yes, please, but she didn't. But it did make me feel better about online dating because I think she was doing that Blind Spot TV show at the time. And I was like, oh, yeah, this is a successful lady, but just doesn't have time for dating, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe everything's fine with her. Hopefully she found love.
Maybe she didn't match with anybody and she was just on there to create buzz, and you were like, I think that's the lady, and then like I'll tune into Blind Spot on NBC to find out.
No,
suddenly you and a bunch of other schlubs.
No, because she was verified,
juicing the ratings for Blind Spot.
I'm sure she's like married to like some real estate mogul now or something.
Yeah, that's what
all right. Well,
anyway,
that's all. Goodbye.
Hey, Tom. Thanks for sharing your deep, dark secrets here.
You're welcome.
I hope you didn't edit them all out. It's your week to edit, so.
Yeah. All right. So if you're listening to this episode and it's 15 minutes long and you're like, why was this episode so short?
Why is it called online dating, but all they talked about was... What did we talk about up top? Who cares? All right.
Gambling.
We'll see you next week.
All
Gambling.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, sign up for DraftKings and Hinge and drink the cans of wine.
Don't do any of those things. Drink the wine. They gave us wine, but don't
Yeah.
do the other things. All right. We'll see you next week.
That was a HeadGum podcast.